Hello and welcome to my session. I am Dr.Aseda Fatima, Assistant Professor and Head, Department of English Aided, Nirmala College for Women, Coimbatore. As a teacher, I inspire and enhance my students, not only in academics, but championing what is best for them. My topic for deliberation is William Butler Yeats' poem, Sailing to Byzantium, which highlights on the transience of human life and the permanence of nature. Sailing to Byzantium by the Irish poet W.B. Yeats, a Catholic in spirit, portrays a journey of an old man traveling to a new country. The man seeks God's help and guidance in his new journey. The country he has left is full of youth and vigor, and no place for old and experienced. The theme of the poem is like introduction. It is about the poem, about the poet, and to know your understanding, to identify the pictures, and then explanation of the poem, and finally we'll end up with a quiz. Can you just identify the pictures related to the poem? So what is poetry? Poetry is a literary genre written in verse, expression of feeling as said by Rita Dow. Poetry is language at its most distilled and most powerful. So according to Wordsworth, poetry is a powerful emotions recollected in tranquility. What do you mean by recollected in tranquility? It is actually an emotions which are recollected when one is in a very composed state of mind. So poetry is a composition of different rhyme schemes, metaphor and similes. Butler Yeats. William Butler Yeats was an Irish poet and dramatist. Some think he was the greatest poet of the 20th century. He won the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1923. The works of William Butler Yeats form a bridge between the romantic poetry of the 19th century and the heart-clear language of modern poetry. Yeats was born on June 13, 1865 in Dublin, Ireland. He was the oldest of 4 children of John Butler Yeats, a portrait artist. His father added to William's formal schooling with lessons at home that gave him an enduring taste for the classics. Yeats had a forceful personality. His personal philosophy was a blend of aestheticism, that is, a belief that art and beauty are important for everything, and atheism, a belief that there is no God. William felt its influence much later as it showed up in his interest in magic and occult, that is, supernatural literature. W.B. Yeats' Sailing to Byzantium was first published in the year 1928 collection The Tower. In this poem, Byzantium is a symbolic representation of a holy city, a utopian ideal of immortality that is celebrated forever, associated to a world of artistic magnificence and rich cultural heritage. It talks mainly about art and culture. Geographically, Byzantium was an ancient Eastern Roman Empire named to Constantinople, which is now known as Istanbul. This slide shows us the antique town view hippodrome of Constantinople, Istanbul. The theme of the poem, Sailing to Byzantium, emphasizing the ecstatic sense in art and literature, transformation, man and nature, spirituality, old age. The first poem, which is seen in the collection of the Tower, written at the age of 63, and all the more reason to sound melancholic and depressed and very sad. It is a 4-stanza poem, 8 lines comprising each stanza, and the form Ottawa Rima with the rhyme scheme AB, 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 CC. Now we see the speaker leaves back his home in search of a holy land, an utopian ideal where art, beauty and knowledge is valued above all. As the world is ceding to the young who have immersed their soul into sensual pleasure of the world that is only momentary and have neglected the never-aging monuments of intellect, he sails to the promised land. He feels that he is a neglected lot and where he is just traveling to an utopian land to seek his peaceful stay. The speaker feels and says that as an old man, he is useless like the tattered cloth over a stick, good for nothing but only used as a scarecrow, unless his soul is in its respectful body that is far intellectual and knowledgeable to serve the purpose of singing school, an embodiment of various art and culture. And so to fulfill the purpose, the speaker has come to Byzantium the utopian land, or the where every soul in its splendor. So he feels that he has come to a nice place where he can feel solace and stay a happy life. Now, this is the art monument in Byzantium. The whole church is a pictorial art of saints with Jesus at the center. The speaker then calls out to sages, as in the wise men, saints next to Christ on the golden wall mosaic, to form a ritual, with him in the center, while other saints in a circle, and teach him to sing, for his sick heart needs to be liberated from this dying body, seeking mystical reunion into some animal which can live for eternity. Now let's read the poem. That is no country for old men, the young in one another's arm, birds in the trees, those dying generations at their song, the salmon falls, the mackerel crowded seas, fish, flesh or fowl, come and all summer long. Whatever is begotten, born and dies, caught in that sensuous music all neglect, monuments of unaging intellect. An aged man is but a paltry thing, a tattered coat upon a stick, unless soul claps his hands and sing, and louder sing, for every tatter in its mortal dress, nor is there singing school, but studying monuments of its own magnificence, and therefore I have sailed the seas and come to the holy city of Byzantium. O sages standing in God's holy fire, as in the gold mosaic of a wall, come from the holy fire, Perrine in Gaia, and in singing masters of my soul, consume my heart away, sick with desire, and fastened to a dying animal, it knows not what it is, and gather me into the artifice of eternity. Once out of nature, I shall never take my bodily form from any natural thing, but such a form as Grecian goldsmiths make, of hampered gold and gold enameling, to keep a drowsy emperor awake, or sit upon a golden bough to sing to lords and ladies of Byzantium of what is past or passing or to come. Indeed, this poem itself is both a kind of song and a kind of mosaic. It's musical, and it's made of many little pieces, words that is put together. The art that the speaker leaves behind is another way of surviving past the limits of his mortal body, and like the golden bird he imagines becoming, will sing still to later generation and teach them the wisdom he himself has learned. And finally, the speaker, now leaving behind a temporal world of ignorance, speaks through myths and cult belief, saying that he wishes to be a bird molded in gold, just like those emperors who have been mummified for ages, so that they could live for eternity, singing to the lords and ladies of Byzantium of the past, present and the future.
To test your understanding, let me ask a few questions. The first question is, poetry is language at its most distilled and powerful form. Who said this? Is it Rita Dow, Shakespeare, W.B. Yeats or Keats? The second question, Sailing to Byzantium was published in the year 1936, 1931, 1928 or 1929. The third question, the rhyme scheme of the poem Sailing to Byzantium, is it ottava rima, sestet, tertia rima or is it a lyric?
Hope the poem Sailing to Byzantium is informative and has unwrapped the idea that old and experienced people must be respected and revered for what they are. Thank you.